And we're back. Welcome back. Welcome, everybody, to the Matrix Network. Sorry for the delay, but you guys will see why in this week's episode. It is it's an interesting paradigm shift. You know, we've kind of alluded to it. You can't take me seriously with my hat, not correct. We've alluded to it before, the idea of, the unknownness of things. And is the unknownness of things actually for our good? And did we get everything wrong? That's actually the question I posit this week. Did I get everything wrong? Was I wrong about everything? I'm not going to go deep into it because I want you guys to enjoy it. I want you guys to bathe in it. But that's the question.
You want to really seal in the flavor.
Yeah. Did we get everything wrong? Is the government really good? Are they like a good father who adjusts reality because they know maybe too much for the child to handle? But they're not doing it maliciously. They're doing it because the child needs progress before they can handle the magnitudes of reality. Yeah. Or was I right?
I think even if I got a septum ring, I think I would still question the government.
Well, that's something you and your septum ring has to handle.
Well, everybody else I've seen out there with septum rings, they still question the government. Nobody actually believes the government is truly working all things out for the good of those who love them.
I don't know. But we have... we got Ted B back.
You mean Elder?
Yeah. Howdy ho,
Elder Ted B.
Mm-hmm.
Yes.
The booster.
Sounds very Mormon of you.
And if anybody else wants to join in and chime on in, let me know. I'll put the link in. I know Noah Cloud was here. We'd like to hear from you. And Slime Feeder's here. If you guys want to chime in or join the live, let me know and I'll post the link. But
yeah, if Iron Man wants to jump on.
Yeah. But I think you guys will enjoy this week's episode. It's just a frame of thought to remind people, everything's not as cut and dry as you think it is. And sometimes the unknownness really is for your good. It really is. And that's not even being hyperbolic. Sometimes it really is. But you have to wonder, is that what the government's doing? Are they really being thoughtful of us? I see Noah Klaus says something. You guys want to read that out?
Ted, or Elder, I mean.
That other guy. All right, let's see, Noah, what do you have to say? There are known knowns, things we know. There are also known unknowns. We know there are some things we do not know. There are also unknown unknowns, the ones we don't know, we don't know. Seriously, Noah, you need to come on because that is a mouthful and incredible words of wisdom that I don't even think I understand. But anyway, yeah, you should consider coming on and explaining that because that's pretty awesome.
Yeah, understanding really, like according to Epstein, understanding is really knowing predictability. Like if you know what's going to happen next, then you truly know that you understand something.
Well, can you expound on that? That seems very profound.
What was that guy? Who's that guy that was interviewing him?
P. Diddy?
No, there's some other famous guy.
Oh, 50 Cent.
No, those are his coworkers.
Do you think that Epstein was just hanging around thinking about that?
Well, I think he got it from Plato. Oh, go ahead.
Well, no, I was saying if he was hanging around thinking about it, and then I said too soon.
I get it now. Well, you assume that he actually was hanging around and he's not still alive. His disciples could have stolen the body. We don't really know if he actually resurrected or not. We just need evidence for that.
Well, we need the Mossad to tell us the truth.
But they won't. So.
Well, they did kind of say something. I played it before. I remember that clip where Elon was talking with Benjamin Yahoo, and he was alluding the fact. He was asking, "Are you the president?" And he said, "Not officially." And so, if Elon can be asserted as the unofficial president, who else?
I don't know.
Man, we're getting me back into the flow. I think I'm returning back. I think I'm back into. Maybe I was right.
I'm still always impressed with the man's name, Yahoo, Benjamin Yahoo.
Netin.
Oh yeah.
Yahoo.
Oh, yeah. I'm thinking of someone else. You said Benjamin Yahoo.
Yeah, I know. I always call him Mr. Yahoo.
Yeah, it wouldn't matter anyway. Same thing.
Mm-hmm.
Netanyahu, the name, the meaning of his name, the meaning of the name Yahoo itself, and the fact that it's a website engine or a search engine.
I never connected that. Yeah.
Yeah, and email service.
Mm-hmm.
And news. There's a lot of stuff. It's big. I mean.
Yeah, the name Yahoo actually means he is God.
What does Netin mean?
Catching fish.
He gives, he is God.
I thought Netin meant catching fish, so it's God who catches fish.
I mean, it could. Depends on how we spell it, I guess, in the original language.
That could be, yeah.
All that transliteration junk. But let's pretend if Yahoo means he is God, then, and that's a search engine. What if Google is the one that is restraining Yahoo from coming into fluorescent? So Google is this predecessor to the big guy who's going to come and have an image.
Well, you could think about that. I've always postulated that, the surveillance capitalism was jump-started by 9/11. Because Google, 2011, that's really when it started moving as a predominant force. And of course, I mean, people look at the connection between Google and CIA is, well, we talk about the CIA and their frat parties, but it's pretty clear. But they needed a way for that invasiveness and that data to be available. So what did they need? They needed an event where that data could be accessed at any given moment. But, of course, the Fourth Amendment restricts that. With legal searches and seizures, you need a judge warrant. But what if we create this genius idea of a nationalized terrorist? Then we can enforce the idea of a Patriot Act. Then we can get all your data because anybody can be deemed as a terrorist, domestic or national. And because of national security, we need access to that. And they've always had this idea of access, but now we're in the digital age in 2001. And so we need the digital access, start emphasizing that all the Al-Qaeda, even though Osama was trained by CIA, was all a part of an intricate internet data system because they're putting out these videos on the internet. So we need internet data, and so it needs to be connected into that infrastructure. So you might be right. All with Yahoo, because, those are beginning search engines. I don't even think Yahoo exists anymore.
Not as a search engine, but as a email server it does.
Yeah. How do you know, Elder?
Yeah.
Because I'm old.
Of course.
Wisdom of the elder.
I remember before the internet,
How do you know people still have that as a email address today?
Because I do.
Oh, you still have it?
Yeah.
Oh, man, he's one of them.
Are you connected to Yahoo? Like literally connected?
Yeah, I'm connected. Yeah. I have a lot of inside information I can't give out. I would endanger my safety.
And no, Noah, I don't think the Mossad, Tom the Mossadder, is here yet, but we know he will be here as soon as you see all these messages redacted.
The redactable Tom.
He redacts more than the Epstein files.
Yeah, he does.
Hey, maybe he's in the Epstein files.
Yeah, and that itself was a crazy episode. If anybody watched that Congress session with Pam Bondi and all of that, if you ever want to see a perfect illustration of distraction, deterrence, and rhetoric played out perfectly, I would say is that. You're literally in Congress. You're testifying under oath. You're asked questions so the public can have information. This is the only way the public can get any of this information is because you're testifying in front of Congress. We get to see it. You have to hear it. You're under perjury laws. But what do you see? Ad hominem. Like literally. So are you saying that there is no people in the Epstein files? You know what? You're the sorriest lawyer I've ever heard. And I mean, this is 101. Never addressing the question, ad hominem, attacking character, deterrence, hyperbolicizing. Trump is the most transparent president we ever had in all history. But you never answered the question.
Well, Donald himself actually said there are no files. And anybody saying that there's files, those are the Democratic people spreading false news, false propaganda. Like there's many videos where he says this. And now there's files all of a sudden, and everybody's just going to look over that and forget that he actually said there was no files.
You know what's crazy about it? Oh, go ahead.
He's getting up there in age, too. And, people do forget things when they get really old. I mean, he's older than me, and that's old.
Yeah, but he mocked the last guy who was forgetting things. So I feel it's only fitting.
Well, I just think I think it's interesting because when you see this, if you don't know that this is strategic, I mean, you have to choose one of the two. Either this is the most incompetent administration in all existence, or it is just the preface to the lack of transparency that you've ever seen in all history. Because, they were mandated that within 30 days, that deposition passed, and they were mandated by law, you must release these files, right? So we've been waiting. They finally released half of these files. But one thing that they all said that they weren't going to do, they were going to explicitly redact all the victims, right? Fine, whatever. I agree or not. That's what they said. So when you go through the files, like a lot of internet investigators do, they scrub through all those pages, whatever, and there's a bunch of victims in there. But then there's select victims that are redacted. So then you have to ask yourself the question, is this incompetence? Is this negligence? Or is this premeditated? Why are you showing these victims, but you redacted these victims? And then when Pam Bondi was asked straight up, are you saying there is no evidence that Epstein was trafficking to anybody except for himself? Kash Patel the other week said, absolutely not. If there was, I would bring an indictment today. Pam Bondi's second in charge said, no, this is done and it's over. There's nothing. But Pam Bondi the other day said, we have investigations pending right now. What is that? So either you have to believe these are the most incompetent people, or this is the most premeditated structural function of lack of transparency and delusion. And the people who are buying into this, they're even more deluded. I mean, you're literally 1 week having these people say no, and then you're having Pam Bondi this week saying yes. And then the argument is nobody knows anything because you guys are loser lawyers. So that's our government. So maybe, you guys are reeling me back. Maybe I'm not wrong. Maybe I've been right. Maybe they are projecting this malicious matrix. And you guys will get more of the context of why I'm saying that when you watch this week's episode.
I don't know. I tend to think that there's a better chance of them all being a bunch of imbeciles than being an insidious masterminds.
Well-
But that's what Russia thought before we went to the moon. We beat them. Like, I think some part of me thinks that the government is purposely looking like a bunch of doofuses because they want the rest of the world to see, oh yeah, they don't even know what's going on. You know, they show.
Well, go ahead.
Oh, that was.
Well, I was just going to say but we got to the moon because of the engineers, not the politicians.
If you believe we went to the moon.
Let's assume that we got to the moon. It was because of the engineers doing the work, not the politicians.
Yeah, but who allowed the engineers to perform that?
I mean, the president himself called.
Yeah, on a red phone.
Yeah. But I mean, that's.
Well, I mean, as long as the money was there, that's all that mattered.
Yeah. So, you know, whether we went to the moon or not, America wanted to portray that we did. And that's something everybody can agree on. And Russia saw that and they said, wow, these guys aren't as dumb as they're purposely portraying themselves to look. So it seems like, yeah, because back then there was a bunch of stupid things happening and, you know, politics and all that. So just like today, but now today, Russia can really see everything going on because we have cameras everywhere and everything. So the government's just, the American government is purposely making us all look stupid.
Something real quick. I'll be right back.
Yeah, but unfortunately, I don't feel like we have any. Like, I was alive during the beginnings of the space program, and there was an excitement in America over that. Now, whether you want to say that the culmination of it, which were the several moon landings, in my opinion, whether they were actually happened or not, I don't know. People make arguments that they didn't happen. I like to believe that they did happen, and maybe it's just being idealistic. But having grown up in that era, there was an excitement in the United States when there was a rocket launch. People would stop. They would stop what they were doing. They'd gather around TVs and watch the launch. I mean, that was a real thing. And when they were doing the moon landing in July of '69, I mean, the whole world stopped to watch. And, if that feeling was still palpable, and I still remember it today, the excitement that everyone was experiencing. I mean, it was a very uniting experience. I mean, everyone around the world was watching a human being set their foot on another, body in space. And it was a momentous occasion. Which is probably part of the romantic part of me, I guess, wants to believe it's true because I want to believe that was all real, that excitement, that energy, that feeling was real, and it wasn't manufactured. There's a hope in me that we'll continue. After a bit of a dry spell, we were doing stuff with the space station and the shuttles, but there's a part of me that wants to see space exploration start up again. I want to see us go back to the moon. I'd like to see us push on to Mars. I think it's exciting. I think it's part of our future as humanity to explore space. So I do hope it's true, and I hope it continues and that it's true. So I'll get down off my soapbox now.
Yeah, and
Artemis, I think, is going up soon, right?
Well, yeah, if they can ever fix their hydrogen leak.
Well, they were supposed to go up this month, but yeah, it got delayed.
But yeah,
March,
we wanted to believe there was WMDs. We wanted to believe that we were helping the Saudis. We wanted to believe that we were liberating the Viet Cong. We wanted to believe a lot of things. And people backed it. But how much of the things we want to believe is because we're portrayed an idea so that we can continue approving and funneling our money to the things comparative to what is real.
Yeah, but you couldn't fake the Vietnam War. You might have faked the reasons for being there, but there were real troops over there getting killed. So
no, I'm not talking about that. Yeah, and I'm not fake.
Oh, I was just going to say, yeah. I mean,
the idea that actions lead to motivations. Like, if you feel like you're going to do a justice, then you might justify the means. If you feel like we have to beat the Russians because they're demonized as the opposition, then you might justify the means. And then you don't care of what the cost is. You don't care. Even if it comes out as a lie, you're not going to say it's a lie. You're going to suppress it and say, no, it really did happen, because you need to justify the means that we are superior. We are better. Americans are better, because that's the propagation. The idea is our dreams or ambitions are manipulated all the time for a larger gain. And I'm not saying everything's like that, but it's hard to believe that the government doesn't utilize and manipulate our patriotism in a way that can justify the means of whatever they want, because they're not going to tell us their real objective, their real goal, but they need our support. They don't want anarchy and riots and all this other crazy stuff. It makes us look vulnerable. Doesn't look like we're superior anymore.
No, if they don't want that, they're not trying hard enough.
Well, I think the paradigm has shifted now. Yeah, I think there's another idea going on. But yeah, it's tough because, I love technology. I always have. And I want to believe the innovations are going to lead to better technologies, better outcomes, a better society. But is that really what I can trust these technocrats with? Do I really believe that the corporations at the whole, their objective is to make society a better place for you, for me? Or is it just a more centralized goal, something that they want? Is it really because they're humanistic?
Hey, if it leads to more profits.
Yeah, but you got to be invested, right?
Yeah, but I mean, it could be a win. It could be a win-win. I mean, if they're producing advancements that are going to help mankind, and they're making a ton of money doing it, win-win.
Well, I guess you can think that, but when they have all the money and you don't, and the dollar is undervalued on purpose so they can utilize a proprietary currency that only they have access to, and you can't use that because the dollars are so devalued because they've reinvested it into a proprietary crypto or whatever currency, then it's irrelevant. Now it's just a power switch. It doesn't matter what how much money you got when we're back to the 30s.
Yeah, but I got this nifty cure for diabetes.
Yeah. It's not a cure, it's a treatment, so you can be perpetually on it forever.
Yeah, you got their number. I'll tell you that.
Well, that's what I'm saying. I'm starting to return back. I think I'm catching my second wind here.
It's good to have you back.
Yeah, welcome back, Agent K.
Yeah.
Just like Tony Stark, it's good to be back.
Mm-hmm.
Well, it's tough because I want to believe, but like they say, you got to help me with my unbelief.
I hear you, brother.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, you're preaching to the crowd.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Well, what is the crowd saying? The crowds are typing.
Well, Noah Cloud says, oh, we already read that. NT Jack says, good day, boys, watching from Darwin, Australia.
You are faithful, man. Appreciate you always tuning in. I see you in the comments, too. I see you.
Yep.
Yeah, but we would really appreciate it if you sent us a donation of $50 a week.
Wow.
No, I'm just messing.
I'd go for a case of Foster's, but
Yeah, same. King James says, I don't mind the wait. And then No Cloud says, that's a Donald Rumsfeld quote when they were asking about weapons of mass destruction. And then No Cloud said, or the elder said, LOL. No Cloud says, is our Mossad agent here? Yeah, we already read that. The elder said he might be out on a mission. Slimefeeder said, people wanted the files for names they could point the finger at, but they skip over healthy running black projects that are science fiction, seemingly by nature. The files don't exist statement boomeranged through my mind about 2 days ago. Those moments are knee slappers.
Knee slappers.
I think the fear of the uncovering of the breakaway society scares us so much we lean there dumbfounded when we know they're trained to seem as such and orchestrate our toils within our ignorance. That's a lot. That's the end of the line, but Slime Feeder said a lot. We can pick apart any of this stuff. Good eating.
Yeah, it is a slippery slope. Because, if you go too far down the rain, then you lose all motivation, right? And once motivation is gone, nothing inspiring can bring it back. Because any new innovation, because just imagine you've already gone down the rabbit hole so far that you've already believed everything is malicious. Even the new innovations that show up, you're going to automatically tie to maliciousness. And that could be true, right? But it also may not be true. And so it is a slippery slope because you don't want to go so far down the road, because if you do, then it leads back to the real question of nihilism. Well, why are you alive then? What's the purpose? You're telling people truth, but for what gain? Everything's a lie anyway. Everything will always be a lie. And if everything's always a lie, then what's your motivation? You can say to tell the truth, but you already know that everything's still going to be propagated as an infinitive lie. So even Zion itself, like in the movie Matrix, even Zion was a lie. So even the hope becomes a lie. And everything becomes a trickling of lies on lies. And it's an endless hopelessness of lies. So, I think there's a danger in going too far down that scope, because even hopes become lies.
That could be liberating, though, in a certain sense. If you have nothing to live for, then you don't have to worry about anything. As long as you're able to survive. If you can get food, if you're safe and secure, in the microcosm, if you're taken care of and you're okay, and everything else is in the macro, and that's all just a mess, it may not matter to you. So you're like, I don't care. The world's a mess. It's falling apart. All these schemes and stuff's going on, but it doesn't affect me, so I don't care.
Why would you want to live then? I don't know. Maybe I'm projecting.
There's many reasons to live. I was going to say depends on what your hopes are in. If your hope was to retire at 65 and you're only 35 or whatever, and you're looking at what the projection of our future looks like, then that's hopeless. You might have to find a new hope to put your footing on. If you're looking at, maybe my kids will have a great future foundation. I'm gonna make all this money and give the money to my kids, or whatever. Yeah, that could look hopeless. If you're thinking that, it depends really on what your hope is.
Yeah, but it seems like everything in the material world. Well, if you go down that rabbit hole too far, everything becomes hopeless. If it's anything, unless it's construct.
Some people put their hope in their kids and their wives or whatever.
But if what you're saying is true, that the future seems hopeless, then there's really nothing to prepare for their future.
Depends on how far people project.
Right.
And everybody projects differently.
That's what I'm saying. If you go too far down the rabbit hole, that's where it leads to.
Yeah, for more impulsive people, they project they're very nearsighted when it comes to their future. So they could see, depending on how impulsive they are, they may see a day in front of themselves, or they may see, a month ahead of themselves. Like, I can visualize me in a month from now, or I can only visualize me tomorrow. I don't think I'm going to be living past tomorrow, though. And based on that is going to, so for impulsive people, it's easy because all of whatever their next buy is, or whatever they have impulsions for, that's what they're putting their hope in. So if you ask them, what's your hope in? They may say, my kids, my kids help me off the drugs or whatever, even though they don't think they're going to be living. They don't even know if their kids are going to live for the next 50 years, and they don't care. They're saying, we just need to live in the present, the here and now. And here and now I have my kids. Tomorrow the kids, the police are going to come and get them, but right now I got my kids. That's what they're going to say. That's what they do say. Yeah, good luck asking what about your kids in 50 years?
Yeah, because it gets tough when you watch these things. Let's say you're impulsive. Let's say you live a very short-term, goal-orientated life, like tomorrow, the next day. You can't ignore the fact that yesterday you heard about Google reporting to the police about projected CSAM when literally you're just taking photos of your kids. You can't neglect that you just heard that yesterday, which means tomorrow it could happen, which means then the future doesn't look very hopeful.
For impulsive people, it's not real until it happens to them. Like you may be, you may be driving under the influence and you think, I'm never going to get caught until it happens. And then you're like, oh, well, I'm not going to get caught again. And then, even when things do happen, they do feel the consequences for their actions. But they still don't think it's going to happen
even
again.
Animals learn from an electric fence at some point.
If it's consistent enough.
Yeah.
But what happens with people under the influence, again, just going back to driving under the influence, when they don't get caught, all it takes is once. So, yeah, they may got caught last week, but they've been driving 5 more days with no license, not supposed to be driving, but they've been driving. They've been getting away with it. So they think, wow, I could really do this. I'm not going to get caught. And they're not thinking in 50 years from now doing this. They're thinking, I'm not going to get caught today, or even with the next 5 minutes, I'm not going to get caught. So they're just going to keep repeating the same thing. It's not a 1-for-1. The dogs thing, yeah, it's a 1-for-1. But you touch it, you instantly get zapped every single time. Anyway,
it's interesting to think about, though. I mean, the farther you push into the future, the lower the statistical possibility of that future being. So it's like you could say, well, I think this is going to happen tomorrow. And there's a pretty good chance that what you think is going to happen will happen. But you push it out farther and farther, and you're taking more of a chance. It's more of a prediction. And you're lowering the statistical possibility of it actually happening. So, if you go too far, it's just a dream at that point, because there's so many unknown variables you can't predict for them.
But there are people out there, and it's usually successful people, and it is weird. They are walking by faith, not by sight, because that's how they have so much money, because they legitimately believe that even though there is nothing to prove that they're going to be alive in 50 years, they legitimately believe, I'm going to be alive in 50 years. Or I'm going to be alive even for like 150 years. I'm just going to be alive. And at that point, they're thinking, maybe not me, but my kids will be here. And they're assuming everything in this world is going to keep operating the same as it is today. And they're just all these false assumptions. But that's how they're successful today, because they're living in the future. And it's weird.
Well, I think being proactive is always going to have more rewards than reactive. If I wait till I get electrocuted and then I do something, that's always going to have more consequences than being proactive and saying, I know there's an electric fence, and I'm going to start doing things today to make sure I avoid that electric fence. No, you can't guarantee the electric fence will be there in 2 days, 3 days, but that will have a higher potential of rewards than just waiting till you get shocked. That's a guaranteed consequence. That's a guaranteed loss. And I think that's it may be a minimal thing like 59, like a 51-49 percentage, but if you amplify that 1% constantly, then yeah, you're going to always be ahead because you're being proactive instead of reactive. And I think that's why you see people who are proactive. Yes, they can't guarantee it, but that little 1% keeps growing instead of just waiting till consequence, because that's a loss. Every time a consequence comes, loss, 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 loss. So I think at minimum we need to be proactive. Can't guarantee it, but that's going to have a better reward potential than just waiting till you get hit.
Yeah, no, I agree. You're still taking the chance on the positive. It's like if you do, what was that, the old grasshopper and the ants or whatever, where you don't prepare for winter, and then you wind up starving. It's the same thing. Like, I mean, I think you need to be prepared. But people, I think, like you were saying, like these people who are wealthy, who are convinced of things, I think they're just convinced in their own mind. I mean, because obviously they can't guarantee it. They can't guarantee that they're in a plane and the plane's going to fall out of the sky, or they're going to slip and fall in the shower and crack their head. Like you can't you can't predict for that kind of thing. But if you want to be, quote, successful, then you're going to project and say, well, I'm projecting 50 years in the future. I want to have, $1 billion, so I'm going to continue to do this. And,
Well, I
it
think
might be right.
those people,
maybe.
what they do, I think, is that in their mind, they can, they're creating the future. And if it's almost like if you had a theme park, you've already created the roads, you created the rides. For the person who's never been there before, this is a novel event. But for the people who created the theme park, they know exactly what's going on. They can control everything as much as possible. So I think these people, these elites, they try to create a world because once they can create it, then the probability of being successful like they think is a higher chance because they created their theme park. And you're just playing in it. It's novel to you, but not for them. But of course, yeah, there are things you cannot control. And when those things happen, that's probably when you see stock market fluctuations or literal wars or anything else. Now, I believe a lot of that's curated a part of the theme park, but there are things that you just cannot control. But I think that's what they think is, let me just create the world as my theme park, and I can get as much as I can out of it because I can control it as much as possible.
Yeah. What's that famous The Greatest Showman song? That boy is singing, a million dreams, it's all it's going to take to create a world, to something make. Mm-hmm. And he's talking about making a world. It's only going to cost 1 million dreams.
Well, that's what you tell children, too, dream big. What do you want to be when you grow up? Look at Aladdin. It's like a whole new world. Mm-hmm. The idea is that the more you make the world, the more it's attainable or controllable or accessible because you're the one projecting into it. I think the billionaires are just able to do something about it.
Well, there is something weird that happens, I've noticed with my own kids. One of my kids is very pessimistic, like me. The other one of my kids is very optimistic, and they were both born this way. I don't know how I could have had any, because I could see it right off the bat as soon as day one with both of them. One of the kids, I want to just buy things for, and I want to do all these good things for that kid. The other kid, I struggle, because I'm like, no matter what I give this person, they're just gonna not enjoy it. They're not going to enjoy it. The other person, I know they're going to enjoy it, no matter what I give them. I don't know. It's a weird thing. So I wonder if life just tends to favor people who are very optimistic, like that SpongeBob mentality. Life just favors it. And then, anything bad happens to them, everybody's on their shoulder. Oh, no. SpongeBob actually, he got hurt or something. Everybody feels bad for them. But the people like Squidward, they're always everything bad. And you actually see this in the cartoon, too, which is interesting. So I know I'm not the only one who sees this pattern. Other people have noticed the same pattern. Everything bad happens to Squidward. Everything good happens to SpongeBob. Anything good happens to Squidward, nobody likes it. Squidward will try the same thing SpongeBob does. He'll copy him in many of these episodes, but still nobody likes it. SpongeBob, though, on the other hand, everybody likes it. But yeah, and they both have their pros and cons. SpongeBob's really annoying. Squidward's the realist, but, anyway. There's another interesting thing, too. I saw a video, and it made me think, what makes a kid popular in high school or middle school, whenever? What makes kids popular and what makes kids not popular? And this guy, I don't even remember who it was. Maybe you guys can look it up if you're interested. I just thought there was a lot of truth in it, but the guy says that they did a study, and the kids that were popular all had something in common. They actually loved everybody. So the kid that loves people, everyone, they're always the popular kid. It's weird. There's this weird thing. When you actually, as a kid, you like other kids, they just naturally like you. And the kids that they found the kids that were not popular, they hated everybody. So it's almost like which came first, chicken or the egg. We always think, well, those kids sitting in the corner by themselves, hating life, hating everybody, they're like that because all the kids hate them. And that's why that kid's like that. That kid hates everybody because they hate him. or her. But maybe that's not the case. Maybe if the kid turned his frown upside down and actually started liking people, liking the other kids, then he would actually become popular. She would become popular. Anyway, it's a whole perspective on life too. Like, what if you actually love people? Then they would naturally love you if that's what you want.
Well, there's an adage: you get more bees with honey than vinegar. And so I think there is truth to that. Everybody wants to be around somebody that is accessible. Love has a lot of connotations, but what it comes down to is you're accessible. Like, you're easy to interconnect with. There's very low restriction, and everybody's looking for the least path. I want to lisp here. Least path of resistance. When people already have this proclivity of I don't like you, there's already this natural aura or feeling of restriction and resistance. Like, you already have to go through a hump just to get to the person, because you already can tell there's a barrier here. But if there's easy access and it's low restriction and there's accessibility, and the more it's like that, then yeah, it's probably going to be attractive. Now, does that leave you vulnerable to be abused and manipulated and taken advantage of? Sure. But so does everybody else who's doing the same thing. So then they usually gather around the good sauce.
Well, I think they become accessible because they like you.
Right.
So if you walk up to somebody and they actually like you, even though they never met you before, but they actually like you, you can just feel it. It's like, this person has their guard down. They actually like being in my presence. Naturally, you're going to like them. And everybody, and if that person likes everybody, then everybody's going to like that person, and they're going to become popular. And it is weird. So it actually starts with the kid. So if you have a kid, try it. I'm not able to try it yet. My kids aren't old enough to be in high school yet, but I'm going to try it. If my kids want to be popular, and maybe that's not the best thing, but you don't want your kids not to have any friends either. So maybe you can, as a practical application for this idea, anybody's watching who has kids, you can try to teach your kids to like people. If they look down and depressed and they're like, yeah, I hate school, I hate everybody there, they're all mean to me, you can tell them, well, why don't you do you like any kids at school? First of all, let's start there. Do you like one? If they say, yeah, I like one or whatever, then okay, maybe you should try to like two tomorrow. And the next day, try to find someone else to like. And before you know it, and actually like them, then your kid might actually start actually gaining friends. Maybe not popular, but they'll gain at least following.
I think there's a more common era. There's a more common understanding of this, even amongst just the novel. Like, a psychopath knows this too. The more successful psychopaths, they learn how to be likable, so they can gain the trust of the other individual. They're not trying to be restrictive. They're not
assuming you're not raising little Nicky over here.
No, I'm just saying there's something. There's a larger sphere of this thought where even those who are malicious know, if I want to be successful, I got to project the lowest amount of friction. I got to be accessible and likable so I can get my objective done. CEOs know that. That's why it's called PR.
I was going to say, CEOs, man, people who are like corporate bigwigs and stuff like that. Absolutely.
But they learn all this stuff when they're adults, and I don't know why we're not teaching our kids this stuff while they're in school. And then we get upset when they're being bullied and they don't have any friends. It's like, well, there are options. If this is true that it's just them, it starts with them. They need to start liking people. So you're going to start manipulating people. Good. You're going to be a good CEO when you get older, but at least you're starting young, not when you're late and you wish.
Well, I think some of that, like we've always talked about, there are genetical proclivities too. I don't think it's just always. Well, I guess everything comes at a cost of difficulty. Some things are more easier for some people, some are not. I guess that's why there's a spectrum of fields of studies and places where people get fit in. But I do think it's a universal understanding, because it doesn't matter if you're. The only reason I was talking about the malicious individuals, I think there's a larger sphere of understanding that you have to be accessible or likable or something if you want to achieve any objective. The more you put up a front side resistance, it's just naturally people are going to avoid it, just like anything. I'm going to avoid a toll booth if I can, if there's another road around. Now, if this other road around is extremely long and difficult, I may justify the toll. But if there's another way around, I'm just going to do it by default. And same with people. If you're already this toll booth, like I have to pay a cost just to get in, people are just going to naturally avoid that up front. And it may not be you're a bad person or a mean person, but you just have this like cautionary mentality, which people feel like it's going to cost me something just to even enter.
Yeah.
Well, it's either that or stay on the highway to hell.
Yeah, or the highway to heaven. It's up to you.
Oh, that's a stairway. That's actually a ladder.
Yeah, that's the song.
Yeah.
Stairway to Heaven. Yeah. Ladder?
Yeah, something like that. I don't know.
No. There's a stairway to heaven and a highway to hell.
Yeah. So one is bumpy and it's uphill. The other one is easy, smooth.
You're into electricity. It's Jacob's ladder.
Well,
that's what I was thinking. Jacob's ladder.
Oh, you're thinking Jacob's ladder. Yeah. Although you kind of figure if they need a highway to go to hell, but just a stairway to go to heaven, it kind of tells you something.
Yeah, one definitely. If you imply that construct, the stairway takes more action and work, and the highway is just a default.
Well, the highway is going to move a lot more traffic than a stairway.
Yeah.
Yeah, that's true.
Well, what are the highways and stairways projecting on the comments?
Let's see. I think I already read that. Slime. Yeah. Okay, I already read that.
I think the next one. It's not about the money. I can't read the.
Yeah, Slime Feeder says it's not about the money. It's about attempting to keep a man from his caveman nature, corralling the useless builders into a new season of reality / normal, while attempting to not break the trance held.
You should expound on that. Yeah, you gotta. What are the useless builders? And what is the trance they don't want to break?
If I had to take a whack at it, I would say these are the psyop of school itself, raising up useless builders, factory workers, and they're getting them the kids used to the new season of normal / reality.
And they don't want to break that trance.
Yeah, while attempting to not break the trance that they're holding. So it is, I think that's what he's saying if I'm translating
the Rockefellerian cycle. The factory workers. Getting women to work and smoke cigarettes.
Yeah. You know what's interesting? I might actually play this video. I'm just going to play
and
the
don't
video
take that as me saying that women shouldn't work and have careers, but Rockefeller had a different objective.
Yeah, we love women here.
And so did Edward Bernays. I'm just saying.
Yeah, so don't clip it. There you go. Oh, man. Why, oh, why does this happen?
No, Klaus says no license, no insurance, beer and Stanley Cup vibes. There it is. What's going to happen in 7 generations? Yeah. That's the problem when you not prepare. Yeah. There's the Matrix. That's the problem when you welcome to the Matrix.
Welcome to the jungle.
That's the problem when you actually build your whole entire life
There we go.
on your 7 generations.
Not all men. Okay, hire a male babysitter then. To be alone with your children, in charge of your children. Unsupervised. Without you there. Yeah. Why not? Wait, why not? Hire a teenage boy. Or hire an old man. Ooh, wait. You wouldn't do that? Wait, but you do that with an old lady. Wait, what's the problem? Oh, so like not all men, but like enough of them to like make you feel uncomfortable with the thought of it. Because you're like, wait, I don't know. Wait. Not all men, not all.
So, just because she's wearing a septum ring, I think there's a lot of truth to what she says. That there is a real thing. As much as the government tries to blur the line between men and women, there's this clear divide. You wouldn't trust a man to watch your kids an old man, young teenager man, boy, whatever. And that itself is really interesting.
I think it's important, though, people take the rationality, though. I would say I would agree in the construct, not in the technical sense. We want men to be builders, not these useless builders that slimers. We want men to be builders, innovators. We want this masculinity to be there so that when things get tough, they keep pressing through. We don't want them to be hyper nurturers. We don't want them to be passive, because somebody's got to take the initiative. Now, I'm not saying women can't, but I'm saying that's why there's a natural thought. Men are infrastructure builders. They are the ones who will get down when the war happens, they're going to be on the front lines. They're going to do the nitty gritty, the nasties, the dirties. And I would project the same thing. I was like, why don't we put women on the front line? Why wouldn't we put a little girl out there? Why wouldn't we put a 18-year-old girl out there? Why wouldn't we put an old lady out there? Not even one, huh? I can make the same argument about the front lines. And so they're just demonizing the construct of the normality, which is we want the men to take the brunt of the force and protect the women and the children. You don't want men to say, once you get on the front line, 18-year-old girl, why don't you get on the front line, old woman? You want the men to take that front. Yet you want to demonize because you think it's strange that you want men to be hyper nurturers and be babysitters. You can't have both.
I think it's a really good point that is being made, because she's saying, again, men are designed to do something else than women.
Yeah, but she's demonized it. That's the issue. She's trying to curate it as though men are evil, men are bad. You would never trust men with children, and that's the reason why she's projecting that idea. And I would say it's not because men are evil and bad. Men are designed in a certain way to be the blunt force, and you want that. You can't have both an extreme nurturer and one who's willing to sacrifice everything on the front line at the same time. And so I would agree in truth, but not in technicality, because men can be nurturers just as well, but you don't want them to be that as a default position.
Yeah, you don't want to start switching gender roles, because that is what happens.
Yeah,
whether they like it or not, which, clearly the Septum Rings do not like that.
Yeah, because none of them would say, I'm willing to go on the front lines.
Yeah, that's cool.
Yeah, and I would say that's cool. I would say that's cool because, I may not want to be your babysitter. Not because I couldn't nurture and take care of children or elderly or anybody else, but that's not what I have a natural proclivity for. I'm innovative. I'm a designer. I have a natural idea of leadership and pushing forward and sacrificial thinking. That's important. That's important for somebody to do that, because if not, then that septum girl needs to go do that. She needs to get on the front lines and get ready to get shot. Somebody's got to do that.
I don't know. She might be in the military.
Yeah, I know.
There's a lot of women in the military.
Yeah, that's right, but it's far and few, just like there's a lot of men who may be babysitters, and that's fine too. But the exception doesn't make the rule. The rule is the normality of the function. That's why we have a functioning society. I think Ted went to go snag a soda. But I mean, we have a functioning society because there are normalities. When you start saying, well, we need everybody equal, it doesn't work that way. It's fair, but it ain't equal.
It highlights another interesting thing that I've been thinking about, and Dawkins actually points it out in his book too, that it's weird that men are able to choose women these days. Like women, they put makeup on, they put whatever clothing on that makes them look more attractive to men. So it's almost like men are choosing which women they want to be with, and women are just willingly doing this. When evolutionarily speaking, women have always been, in all these species, women have always been the one to select which male they would like to procreate with. And it has to be this way because women's eggs are limited. Men's semen are unlimited. So men have all the semen all day. They could spray it everywhere. Nobody cares. Women, though, they had to be really selective who I'm going to give these. It would be like telling a man, yeah, you can only ejaculate 9 times in your whole life. That's it. And then now all of a sudden you're going to care. It's like, well, I'm going to have to save this for marriage then. And now all of a sudden you're going to see a man start thinking like a woman. It's like, oh, now I need to make sure that I'm going to find a good woman who's going to help me build a good home. Because if she leaves, then I only got like 5 eggs left. She took 4 of my eggs. I only got 5 left. So now so in this biologically this framed mindset, you're just limited. And on limited resources, you have to be the one to pick and choose and be selective on who you're going to be with. So evolutionarily speaking, men should be lining up to women, and women should be saying, swipe right or swipe left or whatever. That's how it should be, evolutionarily speaking. And he notes the fact that it's not that way in today's day and age. Like, men actually have at minimum an equal, if not greater advantage. Now, they're actually the one doing the picking. It's just backwards. And again, this could be all by governmental design. Could be all a big psyop, and that's why scientists are confused at why this is happening, because it's not normal, it's not natural, it's forced.
The only way this can continue is, if the government projects children are problems. Children is the essence of it, because women have 3 quandaries to deal with. Men literally have none. Women have to, they have egg limitation. But the next thing is they have to deal with 9 months of carrying this child, of pain and duration and everything else. Then they're left with the nurturing and taking care of this child. Men can just leave at any given second, any given moment. They leave. They got nothing, no responsibility whatsoever. They don't have to, and nobody can force them. So the woman has 3 layers of consideration. But if you indoctrinate society to say, we don't need children, this is what can empower this idea of equality. Because yes, if women no longer have to deal with those 3 layers of concern, then they just became like men. They're just as free as well. Just abort the kid. I have no responsibility. There's nothing there. I don't have to deal with the pain. I don't care if my eggs are gone. And there's no nurturing dealing. So you're just back to like men. So now, naturally, you're going to think the liberation of men. And that's why men can think that way. Now, is that efficient? No. But, yes, if the government indoctrinates that idea, absolutely. And because we see more prevalency of that thinking, it's probably why you see more masculine women.
Yeah. And that's the other thing, too, now with, what's it called? The synthetic eggs. Women can now be unlimited in egg sources as well. They could. I don't need my eggs anymore. I could go get a better egg. It's actually better. But I know, according to the gene idea, you're going to want it to be your egg. So the woman's going to want to feel biologically like that's my egg, though. So
they can.
It's got to be just synthetic enough and just.
They can do that through not IVF, in vitro fertilization. They can do it through IVG, which they use stem cells. And that's why same-sex couples now can have kids of their own, because they'll create a sperm and an egg from stem cells. So they actually just create it. And so it's from you. It has your genetical code. It has all your biological identities. But the lab creates an egg and sperm and inseminate it. But it's not your egg, nor is your sperm. It comes from the stem cell. But it's all biologically you. So you don't need an egg and sperm anymore through IVG. IVF, yes, you have to take the woman's egg. You have to take the man, and then you artificially inseminate. But you still need an egg and sperm. IVG, no, you just create the thing.
Well, this is going to cause a problem. And maybe this is, again, it's just by design. This may be the answer as to why. It answers Dawkins' question is, why is it being switched up? In our recent era, women are no longer the choosers of their mates. It's now the men who are choosing their mates. And that could be, like what you're saying, maybe because if you equal the playing field, give women unlimited eggs and men unlimited sperm, none of them care. But one of those groups is going to be a little bit more decisive than the others. One's going to be more aggressive than the other one. So it's just going to end up ultimately being the man choosing which mate he wants again.
Yeah.
and not the woman as it was
Until
evolutionarily.
like if they finally solidify this idea, and then they eradicate the whole idea of procreation as a whole, then no, you're just going to have a bunch of men. That's all it's going to be eventually. Because the only thing that really forces biologically a woman to be a nurturer is the children. This is why they have to be so nurturing and passive defaultly, genetically.
Mm-hmm.
They need to care. If this kid's yelling in my ear all day, you got to have enough compassion and nurturing proclivity to say, I ain't going to kill it. And so you are designed with a hyper extent of nurturing. But if all of this goes on for generations and you start getting this idea that I don't have to bear anything, you're just going to have a bunch of men. They may look like females, but in all sense, it's just the personality of a man. No responsibility, no reason, no nothing. I'm not saying all men are like that, but I'm saying men have a default set of positions where they don't have to be responsible. And once women start thinking that too, it's just going to be a bunch of men. That would be the end goal.
Yeah, it'd be like Back in the Garden.
Yeah, well, it's just going to be weird. And then the passive men, naturally passive men, are going to be feminine. And that's what's even more strange. So if you reduce men's testosterone by all this food and anything else, medications, anything else, and women start having increasing of testosterone through these gender transitions and everything else, it's just going to be the inverse.
Mm-hmm.
And so, yeah, it's going to look like male and females on the exterior, maybe for a little bit, and then it probably won't either. You start pumping in too much testosterone, and they have too much estrogen because their libido and testosterone is so decreased. You may actually start seeing this weird visual swap too. But, yeah, at some point there's going to be an equilibrium where it just looks like all men. Because defaultly you're just making women more like men. Men are already there. They're not doing anything. Yeah, so it's a weird succession of events if it keeps going down this trajectory. And the only way to fix it is bring back the unction that you need children. It's important for women to have children. You got to convince the women to have the children. If you don't, then yeah, this is only going to lead one way. And maybe that's what they're doing. You know, a lot of these elites, they're trying to revert and say, you need to have children. Look at Elon. Always saying you need to have a lot of children, population issues. Instead of population reduction, now we have a population issue. We need to have more children. And I don't know if it's because he's afraid that these women are going to become more powerful than him.
I think it's because he wants more children to take to his private island. And if we're not producing children anymore, then yeah, it's like...
Yeah, but he could do IVG and get all the children he wants.
Yeah, it's probably not the same.
Yeah, I wouldn't know, but I would think it would be the same. But yeah, I wouldn't know.
Yeah, I wouldn't know either.
Yeah, I can't answer that.
But he would.
Yeah,
you
sure he would.
Yeah, if you give him a New York steak, and it's not a real New York steak, he would know because he's been to both. I mean, he's had the cheap one and he's had the real one.
Yeah, I guess that's the question. Has he tasted of the artificial children?
Yeah, that's the question. It's not the real children. It's
artificial. That's already a given. And again, I'm not saying, Elon, you've done anything. It's just a proposition of the elites doing things. I don't know what you're doing. But, the question really is, have you tasted the artificial yet? Yeah, everybody says Diet Coke tastes like regular Coke. But, there's a lot of people that can say, I can taste the difference.
Yeah, it's pretty bad though when you have artificial candy. It's like it's not the real candy. This is artificial candy. It's like candy itself is already artificial. It's already really bad for you. But now we're gonna get artificial candy. It's like, wow, that's 2 steps in.
And what's crazy is that we have to talk about this. Like, these are the normalities in our world. Like, do you want real children to fondle? Or you want artificial children? Have you already tasted artificial children? Oh, we already know you tasted the real ones. Yeah, that itself is just an insane dialogue that you even have to project. But, well, that's the world we live in.
Yeah, I'm afraid so.
What's the chat say about all that artificialness?
No Cloud says, no license, no insurance, beer in a Stanley Cup, vibes.
Yeah.
Yep. What is going to happen? So, you already read that. Slime Feeder said, bingo. 7 generations from now, we're either a part of Makashi or a corpo.
Isn't that the that egg or that mystical building in Japan that projects entities from a temporal world to a like spiritualized world? Like, I guess it'd be like living in the Matrix. Wow. I guess, yeah, or you could be living in a corporate matrix, but maybe he's postulating the idea that it's a governmental matrix or a corporate matrix. Yeah, I don't know. That can be kind of deep. Slime Feeder's coming with that deep stuff.
Yeah. I like it. Bring in the heat. The elder says, Noah, you sound like you know something.
Oh, Noah knows things.
Yeah. And then Noah says, it takes more emotional effort to understand peers. When the popular use exclusion as a social weapon, the unpopular act like talking bad about the right people will make them popular.
Yeah, I guess it's like an experiment. Because, yeah, there probably isn't like like anything. There's exceptions to the rules, and then there's the rules. But, yeah, for the most part, I think we're looking for low friction. But there's sometimes you got to test the environment.
So here's a theory that I'm going to throw out there to the ether world, and you guys can tell me what you think.
Are you invested in ether?
No. I'm not invested in either. But you guys can tell me what you think. And now that we have Elder back, he can rail me with questions. What if the popular kids in school, when they're making fun of an unpopular kid, or let's say they take their soda and they dump it out on the floor or something in the cafeteria, what if those popular kids are actually doing that to the unpopular kids, not to push them, not to be mean, but to joke? Because the popular kids are laughing. And I've done the same thing. I'm not a bully, but I've done the same exact thing, and people thought I was a bully because with my friends, I'll do things and say things really stupid. I'll make fun of them. I'll laugh with them. I'll joke at them. I'll take their stuff and break it or do whatever. And then I'll laugh. And then when I do that with other people, the same thing. I'm just treating them like a friend because I like them, treating them as a friend, and they feel like I'm picking on them and I'm being like one of those bullies, one of those mean girls. And I'm not trying to be a mean girl. So that's the question. If a popular kid, maybe the popular kids aren't actually trying to hurt the unpopular kids. They're actually just dealing with them like they do with their own friends. But it's the unpopular kid, because they don't like those popular kids. They say, "Oh, you did this to me," and I've had this happen to me personally, where people are like, "Oh, you did this to me. You're just picking on me," and then they feel hurt, and then they become this recluse because they feel like me and my friends are picking on them. I'm like, that's not what's happening. We're just treating you like one of us guys. Like, I'm actually just including you into our group, and then this is what you do. So then I'll do it again. I'll try to include them in the group. Like, yeah, it's like Johnny over there. He eats pink snow, and then I'm just joking, just like I do with my other buddies. But then they take that and they're like, "Oh, how can you say?" And they start crying in the end, and they become really depressed. And it's because they don't like people. They don't like me. They don't like my friends. They don't like anybody. So therefore, anything anybody says to them or about them, they think, "Oh, they're attacking me," when really it's not. And I'm not sticking up for bullies or anything like that. I don't like bullies any more than anybody else does. Because, then you have those real bullies who they themselves, there's a bully who is just going to beat you up and steal things from you and everything. That's different. But then there's the popular kids. That's what this whole conversation's about.
Yeah, see, I think there's a psychological layer on both sides. There's, the more reclusive people, it's not like it just happens overnight. Usually they have different family lives or something. And I think there's a boundary of acceptance. Like, you see it in movies. So like the Mean Girls kind of stuff, they'll go up to that unpopular kid, that fat girl or whatever. And on the front side, they're being nice right up front. Like, hey, would you like to hang out with me? If they were just upfront mean, and yet they're trying to be cool, like that's how they hang out with each other, naturally, there's this...
That's what they do with their friends, too.
Right. But I'm saying there's this layer of definitive inclusion that puts down a barrier. Like, if I know I'm safe here, then I will put down my walls. But if I don't know, I'm still susceptible to, if I'm safe here, I'm still going to put up resistance because I don't really know if I'm a part of the crew. So if you're mean up front, naturally that's just going to bring opposition. But what you see in these movies, like these Mean Girls, they'll fake the niceness up front because they know I need to get you in and put your walls down. So it's like, hey, would you like to come to this party with me? I have this party I'm going on. Mm-hmm. But really they're premeditating this malicious intent.
Yeah, you know what's funny is they do that to each other too.
Yeah.
The popular girls, and they're friends, and they do that to each other. They'll pretend and act fake and nice to them, and then they'll prank them later on. And I've seen that in person. You actually see it on TV.
Right. The only difference is that those Mean Girls, they've already been included. So they already understand that this is a part of the social currency. They've already experienced this multiple times. There's no fear in their mind that this means you don't like me. But the new person that's never experienced that before, they don't know how to decipher that. So unless they experience a couple routines of legitimacy, and then they get a chance to be the mean person, I guess, in this concept, and show that, and then they get acceptance for being mean instead of being, oh, what, you think you're funny? Oh, and they get mocked for actually doing the thing that these others do, because that's what you see in movies. Then that like fat girl will try to do what these mean girls do, but then she gets made fun of instead of accepted. And that causes her to recluse even more because she tried to be a part of the crew, but then they just mocked her instead of accepting her, and they shunned her even more and made her a big laughingstock in front of everybody.
If we could say that all of the girls that were reclusive were all fat and ugly,
I'm just saying in the movies, it's
not
usually how they project those things.
Maybe.
Yeah.
What I've seen is these mean girls in real life, and it made me think back when I was in high school. Thinking back to all these times I've seen it with my own eyes, these mean girls and boys, the jocks and all them, they would welcome somebody in. So like Noah Cloud, to fill you in what we're talking about, Elder, Noah Cloud said, it takes more emotional effort to understand peers. When the popular use exclusion as a social weapon, the unpopular act like talking bad about the right people will make them unpopular. Yeah, it's true, but I was more getting on this word exclusion. What if the popular crowd is not excluding anybody? They're simply treating you like they treat each other as friends or brothers and sisters. This is what I do with my brothers too. There's another perfect example. I call my brothers stupid and idiot and all that, and they call me the same things. We act like we're dumb. We'll prank each other. We'll do these stupid things. We'll hurt each other. But then if I do it to somebody else, which I have. And I'm just assuming, I'm actually treating you like a brother, but you're not receiving it that way. So now you're gonna be like, oh, he did this to me. He treated me like this. Oh, I'm not allowed in their clique, and then I'll never hear from them again. I try to reach out, but now they think, oh, he's just trying to get me again. It's like, well, yes and no. I'm trying to welcome you into our community so you can call us stupid. You could do all this stuff, and we're gonna make fun of you. You make fun of us, and all this has nothing to do with you being overweight or underweight or ugly or handsome or whatever.
But that's what I was saying. Is like you got to build up to that thing, right? If
Why?
those, well, it's like a function that you see in society, like class systems, right? I'm not going to deny what Noah was saying. There's higher levels of popularity, regardless if that's money, societal clubs, whatever. They do have exclusionary ideas. Like I was one of those jock kind of people in school. I wasn't going out of my way trying to find friends with the chess club or the debate club. And I could care less if they came over to hang out with us. But us crew, us football players, we were sitting around talking with each other, just like you're saying, joking with each other, whatever. And when one of those people came over, we might be nice, but our intention wasn't like, you need to be a part of our group. It was just, what's up, guy? Whatever.
Yeah, that's right. You're going to treat them like you treat each other.
No. We're just being nice. We're not trying to bring them in. We're still being very exclusive. We think we're an elite group of people. And the higher I think you get in popularity, there is this mentality of I am better than you. You might be nice, but you're not trying to recruit everybody to your crew because there is something special.
Yeah, I'm not saying you have a football team or whatever, but let's say you guys, took his tray and dumped it.
Well, that's different.
And he just laughed it off. And he said, "Oh yeah, that's real funny." And then he takes your tray and he dumps it.
Mm-hmm.
Then it's like, wow, well, this guy gets us. This is cool. Like, either he's going to get beat up by all the football players, and then that crosses the line into bullying.
Right.
But I don't think football players are trying to get kicked off their team. I don't think they have abusive homes or anything. They have loving homes usually. So they're there, and they're not probably going to do that. They're probably going to put their arm around him. I've never seen this before, and it's because these people, the people that don't like anybody, they're always the reclusive people. So they're just going to recluse. They're, oh, no, he took my tray and dumped it. It's like, and he didn't pay attention that same jock did the same thing to his buddy a few minutes before that. He dumped his tray, and he was like, oh, ho, 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 and they all laughed at it.
I think there's something deeper, though. I think there's something that's correlated with proclivities. Like, inclusive people might hang out with them kind of people. Like, maybe they're a bunch of debate club people or chess club people. They don't necessarily want to hang out with the jocks. But they have their own societal niche group. And if a jock try to come over to hang out with them, they might try to use their intellect to superior themselves over the jock because they have this societal clique. I don't know if it's so much of, I guess it defines on what is popular. If you're popular within your own societal group, that can be an objective. But to try to say it's all equal in popularity spectrums, that's probably difficult.
No, it's a theory. That's what I'm saying. And if it works and you can get your kids more friends, then why not try it? Even if it's a theory, it's not like it's going to hurt anything.
I think it would work within their genre of I keep saying proclivity, but their desires.
Well, let's flip the script. Imagine one of the jocks came over to the chess club table.
I was saying that earlier.
Yeah, and the chess club table said, wow, you sound like a dinosaur, pterodactyl or whatever.
Mm-hmm.
And the jock started laughing. He said, oh, yeah, you know what? You sound like this algorithm or whatever. And he actually threw it back at them. They all laughed. And it's like, wow, this guy gets us. They would let him probably sit there.
That would be if he understands their culture, like their dynamic, their society, like an intellect. Mm-hmm. If he didn't and he was the cliche jock, the idea that they're not smart. And he says, oh, yeah, well, your mama has dirty diapers.
Yeah.
They're all going to laugh at him and make fun of him, too, and reject him.
But then he's just going to go back to
right. That's what
area.
I'm saying. I think this idea of likeness is true, but I think that's also within the sphere of your social group because they are just natural proclivities. Like we have natural desires. We all don't want to be football players. We all don't want to be data analysts. But within your sphere, then, you need to be more likable. So within your sphere of societal groups, you can obtain more friends. But I don't think it can, but it depends on how integrated the individual is. If you can jump and say, I can be a jock here, but then I can be a data analyst over here. And
I think you can if you like that person. If that jock truly loved or cared about that nerd table.
Yeah, but they wouldn't.
Let's say I know that's why there's segregation. But if they actually did, then they would be able to bridge that gap. The nerd people would actually be able to tell the jock cared about them.
See, what you're talking about is a gold, like a diamond. Like very few people can jump.
And that's why very few people you'll have the most popular person in school. And it's because they actually like
that
everybody.
might be very well true. The most popular person probably can be a jumper.
And it seems like there's a spectrum. The more people you like, the more on the tier, the higher up. But it takes a lot because, if you like somebody, you actually care about what they care about. You're going to listen and understand and remember everything. So you got to have a really good memory. You got to have a lot of energy to act.
Yeah.
Not just act, it's actually genuine. You're actually dishing out
energy. And I see that's why CEOs the same way. The reason why the most successful CEOs, they jump. And it may not be legitimate, but they're at least persuasive enough about their desires that people believe that you care about it. And that's probably good enough for most people. At least you're making me feel like you care about it. But that's a diamond in the rough. That's rare to find, those jumpers, because it's hard to know about one thing and care about that one thing. But man, to start caring about everything on a legitimate level too, you can't just arbitrarily say something. You got to make them feel like, oh, you really do like that.
Well, it goes into teachers too. I've always wondered why some teachers, even though they're not supposed to do that, they like some kids more than others. And it seems like that's why. It's because those kids like the teachers even. They like the teachers and they like all the kids in the school. And the more kids they like, the more popular they get.
Sure.
And it has to be genuine. Yeah, it can't be fake because, some part of our subconscious mind could tell this person is using me or whatever. If you're a psychopath, especially at that age, you're not able to hide it as well. So it's not till they get older. So kids can tell if you're being genuine with your emotions or not, if you truly care about me.
But I think the best thing, because jumping is difficult, find the thing that you care about, try to be likable in that social group, that setting, and make as much friends with the people like-minded as you. If you can do the jumping thing, that's great. Of course, you're going to have more friends in more different spheres, like networking. But that's difficult. But the best thing I would say out of all of that is, yes, still, regardless, try to be likable within at least your sphere, because you'll definitely gain more of your objectives and you'll have more people supporting you than if you just have this isolationist mentality. What do you got to say about that?
Interesting. Having in grade school, having grown up, kind of being the kid that was picked on, I guess I have a certain perspective of this. And yet I did have friends. So I was part of both situations. I definitely had friends, but I was picked on, bullied. But I think it has to do with familiarity. Like you guys were saying, kind of like your circle or your group or whatever. I think kids of like interests will gravitate towards the other kids. Like the sport people, the jocks tend to gravitate towards one another because they're interested in sports. The nerds, depending on the flavor of nerdism that you're involved in, they tend to gravitate together as well. And I think the other thing you have to keep in mind is age makes a big difference as to when this is happening, because there's a emotional maturity that takes place as you get older, and I think you're more aware of what's happening. I think younger kids have, for lack of a better word, they have an evil streak in them. Some of them just seem to have fun and enjoy being mean to other people. And I don't know if it's a feeling of superiority or what exactly it is, but I don't see it as colleague was saying, where it's like they're kind of reaching out in the way that they treat others to treat you that way. I think again, you have to be familiar with the group you're with in order to get away with that. And I'll give you a real life example. The group of friends I had before I met my wife, we were the type of guys that just ribbed on each other all the time. Just busted on each other, and but we cared about each other too. If something bad were to happen to somebody in the group, we would rally around and help them. But when during good times, we were just you would just rip into each other. That's just the way we showed that we were friends. The pranks and all that kind of stuff. Well, when I introduced my wife to them, she was like, "I can't believe how mean these guys are, and how much they're picking on you. Like, why do you put up with that?" And I'm like, "No, that's just the way we are. That's just the way they act." But because she didn't grow up in a environment where busting on each other was how you showed you cared, she couldn't understand what was going on there. So it's kind of a real life example of, again, it's just individuals, but it just goes to show you that some people get that and some people don't, depending, I think, on your familiarity and your environment. Like you said, colleague, you and your brother or brothers, I'm sorry, I didn't, but yeah, I mean, you were kind of used to that. That's just how you operated. So it was very natural to you, and you knew that you could carry that on, like to show that kind of camaraderie and brothership to your friends. You would naturally do the same thing because that was what you did to people you cared about. But for others, it's different, and especially if you're feeling a bit of an outcast, you might need to feel that acceptance or nurturing first before you're comfortable going to the rip on each other kind of environment, which I think maybe was part of my I don't, when I think back, I don't see any of the kids that were teasing me as being wanting me to be friends with them. They were trying to get a laugh, or they were just trying to get other people to like them because they thought they were being cool by picking on somebody else.
So if we go back to one of those instances, what would have happened if you would have treated them the way they treat each other? So, because we know that they were treating each other similarly. They would make fun of each other to get laughs from each other, the jocks or the popular kids or whatever. And if you would have given it back to them, just like they gave it to you, what do you think would have happened? Like, it treated them like they treat each other.
That's an interesting question. I'll never know because I always folded. I always just, went away.
I think there's a
because I felt attacked. I felt attacked, and I was like, I'm going to remove myself from the situation because I didn't have the confidence or assertiveness to try to face it. So I didn't.
I think there's a cultural aspect too, because like in my culture, everything's serious. Nobody's joking about nothing, and if they do joke, it's a very superior type of joking, and you better do it to the right person in the right setting in the right connotation, or you're going to be, and it doesn't matter if it's family either. It's a very respect orientated culture, and we're just not joking people. A lot of the Oriental cultures are not very joking. Like, you can see some laughter and stuff. Like, colleagues saw some of that with my uncle, but it's far and few. They're not sitting around laughing all day. They're not sitting there pranking people.
Yeah, they weren't busting on each other.
No, like me and colleague were actually making statue faces in the subway, standing there. Nobody was laughing. No, like in America, I guarantee you, people would have been filming, laughing.
You're talking about in South Korea.
Yeah, when he was there visiting with me, like we would do things like Americans would do. And it would naturally get a reaction, and people would laugh, and like. But when we did over there, everybody was just staring at us like we're some weirdos, and we didn't care. We were still doing it because, we're embedded in American culture and idea. But in their culture, everything's about respect. It's not about looseness and joking. So I think also that plays a factor. So somebody comes over here, they may not understand that American type of banter and conversation and friendship. In their mind, it's like it's all about honor and respect. And now I feel like you're disrespecting me, where honestly you're just trying to be like an American. You're having this banter, this play, but they do it differently. It's not the same way.
Yeah.
I think we're still looking at it a little too narrowly. What I'm talking about is something that transcends the culture, and whether you're in sports or calculators or whatever. Do you actually care about those people in the other culture? And if you do, then you're going to gain their popularity. You can be popular even amongst Koreans in their culture if you actually like them, and they can feel that you like them.
Right, but you would have to be a jumper. Like, you would have to now change from that American banter to whatever is normal for them.
And you would, because you like them.
Right.
It's like, I like you guys, and I want to respect you. I'm going to, whatever you guys I like it.
You know how difficult that is. That's what I'm saying. It's a diamond in a rough, because you would have to be over here with your American friends, this wild, bantering person. Over here, you're going to be more respectful, more passive, more conversational. And it's almost like you got two different personalities, because you would be like two different persons. And so it's not impossible, but that's a very rare ability.
I don't think you have to become somebody else. You just have to like that somebody else. You don't have to become them. You don't have to become a calculator person or a jock or whatever. You just have to like that person. And if you can teach your kids young to like everybody, then they'll probably become popular. And you can control that too. Like, maybe you don't want them to be that popular, because then they're probably going to do some stupid things. Maybe you want to limit the scope, but at least they don't have to be the person in the corner of every classroom with no friends, or like one friend, because they like that one person. They like to say, I like this one person. And it's awfully coincidental that one person that they like is the one person that they have as friends. Like, if you could If they could broaden their horizons, they're saying, I like everybody. I like 3 people. Then magically you're going to have 3 different friends, and they're going to be cross-culture. One in a calculator club, one in the jock club, one in the skater community, one in the emo community. Everybody, you're just going to start gaining more popularity.
I don't know. Maybe I'm projecting because of my reality. It's very difficult to have knowledge about a lot of different sectors. Usually people have one thing that they're interested in, and that's what they have a lot of information.
I don't think you have to know about their thing that they're in.
Well, what I'm saying is I don't think it's a bad thing. I think specifying within your group of proclivities and knowledge and desires is probably beneficial. I don't know how beneficial it is to have a wide spectrum of I like everything. Like I get into that problem of analysis paralysis. I like everything.
Yeah, you're saying things.
Yeah.
I'm saying people.
Well,
I like everyone.
everything.
You don't have to like what they
I'm
like.
not an isolationist in that thinking. It's like things really are revolving because of people. Things don't exist outside of people. If you like a thing, that's because it's the people who create the thing. And that's why you look at who made this, who did this, who built this, where did it come from. And so the things and the people aren't separated.
There's people I like, and I don't like anything that they like, but I like them.
Just so you have to learn about what they like.
If we're going to hang out,
Right.
I don't have to hang out to like them.
Well, yeah,
I
but
still like them
but you
as a
won't be able to
person.
have them as a friend. A friend is more than
Probably
just
not.
right. And if
Well,
you want,
show me a popular kid in high school or any school that is friends with everybody. They're
that's
not
what
hanging
you
out
were
with
saying.
everybody.
in
That's
the
not what
beginning.
I'm saying.
You were saying in the beginning you want more friends.
Friends, yeah, if your kid has 0 friends, you can move that up to maybe 5 friends, 6 friends or something, get a healthy amount of friends.
So then what is a friend? Is it just somebody I like, or is it something deeper?
Someone you're hanging out with.
Yeah, then
Someone
have-
you like, though, doesn't have to be a friend.
Right,
You
but-
can like a girl and you don't even know her. The girl can
But
like
then
a
that's
boy and they don't even know
that's
the boy.
irrelevant. It has no value. The friendship has a value. That's why you cherish it. You can like a tree. You can like anything.
Yeah, that's right.
But that's
And
irrelevant.
it doesn't you don't have to hang out with that tree. You just
Right.
like it. You saw a picture and was like, I like that
Right,
tree.
but that doesn't have no value. It doesn't help you or help it. The friend actually brings a value of transaction. It's like I give, you give. There's some value here. That's why friendships are worth something. Liking something don't actually bring
Fine.
anything.
If you only like your friends, then be happy with the amount of friends you have, because you'll never have any more than that. You have to like people to get new friends.
Yeah.
Let's say you lost a few friends. Well, you better start liking somebody else so that way you can gain them as a friend too. But I think the liking has to come first.
Absolutely, it has to come first. But then the likeness, if you want a friend, then you have to gain that information about that individual, which I think that gets difficult if you cross sectors. That's why I would say the best thing is stay within that lane of sector and be as likable as you can in that. Because to jump sectors and have friends, real friends in multiple sectors means you'll have to learn about a lot of things jumping sectors.
I think it might be the terminology that you guys are using, but I think maybe if we use the word, instead of liking other people, maybe if you said if you're comfortable around other people, that might be a better way of putting it, because it might be an issue of young people and crossing that barrier of feeling socially awkward, socially uncomfortable, not feeling assertive enough to want to speak to someone they don't know or that is different. So if you can get your children comfortable around other people, I think that will have the same effect. They'll be willing to step out of their comfort zone to maybe, talk to someone who's different or introduce themselves or say, hi, what's your name? And do you like this? But that communication, you got to be comfortable with it. And I don't honestly know if this is a nature nurture kind of thing. I know some people are gifted with it. They just naturally are people persons. But the question is, can it be taught? Can you teach someone who is socially awkward and may have it difficult with relationships? Can you teach them to be more open and more comfortable around people? But I think that's the goal. I think it's a level of comfort around other people and not being so guarded, because I don't think it's not hating other people or not liking other people. It's the feeling like you are guarding yourself. You're being protective, because it could be a bit of fear, fear of a different experience or whatever, or exposing yourself. I don't know. But I think like growing comfortable with people you don't know, I think goes a long way.
I mean, is there anything wrong with segregation? And that's, well, if that was clipped, that'd be horrible. I'm talking about isolationless amplification. Like, is there anything wrong with that? I think that's actually good. It generates value. Like, I have these group of people, they have a value because they have a certain thing that they really care about.
Oh yeah, absolutely.
And so that segregation of, you guys are farmer people. You guys really like farming. I can like you, right? I can try to help you, but I don't know if I can get involved in this farming. And so I'm not going to be as close to you as your farming people, nor should I try to be fake about it, because I don't think I'm going to add any value. I'm going to deter you from your time, your efficiency, because I'm really not a farmer, nor do I care about being a farmer. And you could be more efficient, more better, and more fitted dealing with farming people. And that doesn't mean I can't be nice, and that doesn't mean I can't be kind and appreciate what you're doing. But that segregation also allows for efficiency.
But keep in mind that people aren't one-dimensional. Mm-hmm. People are multifaceted. So you may find someone who loves farming, and it's a real passion for them, but you know what? They like playing chess too. So you may not want to go out and help them with the farm, but you'd love to play chess with them. So you don't have to be interested in everything that person is, but if you have a shared passion, there could be a connection there. And I think
that's just my industrial mind thinking, right? I'm looking for efficiency. And I say max efficiency usually is recycled around the things that you really like. And if you hang around those people, it's going to be amplification. You like this, I like this, and now we're building upon these things. Then you have this person coming in that says, well, I like to hang out, but you don't like anything that they really like. Will that mitigate efficiency? And so maybe that's probably not the best way to think, but that's how my mind is thinking is efficiency.
Efficiency depending on who. And
well, I'm saying like if you're a farmer.
I know. Your definition of efficiency may be different than a kid's. And that's what I'm saying. I think you guys are thinking I'm talking about something else, and I'm not.
Yeah, you're talking about kids and how they can gain more friends.
You're using a different definition of efficiency than I am. When I'm saying efficiency, and I'm trying to help a teenager become efficient, what they deem as efficient is being popular. Their goal. I want to be popular. I want everybody to know who I am. Whatever reason.
Is that efficient?
Well, for them, that's what they determine as their goal. Whatever helps me get to that point, I want to do it.
Yeah, be successful in something.
Sure. Well, I want friends. I want people to look at me.
In my culture, that's absolutely not true.
Fine, but you go to any school in America,
they're going to say, you're going to go be a doctor. You're going to go be this. You're going to be that. And your whole life is going to work to do that. If not, you're a failure in this family.
Fine. But here in America, kids tend to want to be popular in high school.
And then you become popular.
And in middle school, too.
Once you become successful, you become popular.
Yeah, late in your age.
Right, because popularity in the small spectrum is not a big emphasis.
I'm starting to see the problem now. We're talking about two different things. You're talking about after-school efficiency, being a billionaire. I'm talking about in school.
I think it's just a cultural difference.
Maybe. If you want to be popular in high school, then that's what the kid says, I want to be. How can I be popular in school? How can I have more than one friend? Then I would tell them, well, and that's their goal. That's their end game. Then I would say, well, how many people do you like? And they would probably say, well, I like one person, my friend. And I'd say, well, you probably need to broaden your horizon a little bit. So I'm working. I'm not going to force what I define as efficiency on them. And, well, you need to make billions of dollars right now in high school. No, I'm going to go to their level. I'm going to say your definition of efficiency, whatever you want out of life, it's popularity. This is how you get it. So I'm going to tell them how to get that. And it seems like based on what these people are saying, it makes sense. Like if you like people, and to answer what you're saying, Elder, I almost called you host. Elder, I don't mind saying comfortability too. I think those probably go hand in hand because if you like someone, you're going to be comfortable with them. But I don't really know why we'd have to get rid of the word like. Like if you like somebody, what's wrong with saying that?
Well, no, there's nothing wrong with it. I just see it as two different things. Think about. I'm trying to think of an example that I can illustrate. if you walk into a crowd of people, okay, let's say it's a party, just for the sake of example. So you walk into a party, there are people that it is painful for them to be there. Number one, because let's say you know one person at the party and you don't know the other 12 people, whatever. So it could be very painful for someone to be there because they don't know a lot of people, and they may just go and gravitate towards that one person they know, and that's it. There's other people that will go into the party and watch and observe and maybe stay in the back, but they may see someone who for some reason they're gravitated towards. It's not their person they know, but it's a stranger, but for some reason what they're talking about, their demeanor, it's something that they like. So you may want to go over and introduce yourself and start talking to that person. The third type of person is just the person who is comfortable around people. They walk into the party and think, there's a whole room full of people that I could get to know. And they'll float around like a social butterfly from one person to the other, introducing themselves, joking around, talking, making comments. So there's 3 different kinds of people, and that's just 3 out of, a spectrum of people. But you see what I'm saying? Like, there's a difference between being comfortable around people, liking people, because people who are comfortable may start getting to know people, and they may not like them all. Like, there's 12 people at that party. You get to talk to them all. You may only like 3 out of those 12, and you may want to start, building a friendship with them. So I think there's a difference between comfort and liking, and then just the poor folks that just are paralyzed in those situations. They just can't handle it.
Yeah, I agree, 100%. And I would even go one step further and say, if you asked those people who are comfortable with everyone, if you ask them, do you like everyone in this party? They're going to say, absolutely. I like all these people. And I don't know what came first, the chicken or the egg. Maybe that's why they're comfortable with them. Maybe that's why they're not.
I'm going to talk from personal experience. That's not true.
So you don't like everybody you're comfortable with?
I am one of those types of people that will go into a party and pretty much feel comfortable. It takes a lot of social energy. I won't lie, but I at least feel comfortable amongst them. I don't feel like I have to shy away, and I won't just gravitate towards my friend that I know. I will get to know the other ones, but I guarantee I won't like them all. And sometimes I have this weird reaction to people, and my wife can contest to this because she's seen it, where
try typing it again, Tom.
Oh my goodness, what the heck? I go in and I immediately don't like someone because of a vibe that I get off them. So it's almost like this weird energy thing, or like a discernment. I don't know what it is, but I have had experiences where I talk to people for a few minutes and I'm like, I do not like that person. So that happens too.
Well, it sounds like we're saying the same thing, because so if I'm understanding you correctly, you go to the party, you feel comfortable with everybody, but then you walk away only liking a handful of them, right?
Yeah.
Now, do you still feel comfortable with those people that you don't like, that you figured out, I don't like these people? Do you still feel comfortable around them?
Not particularly, no.
Okay.
Because I feel like there's a bad energy there, so I don't.
That's right. So you don't like them, you don't feel comfortable. So it seems like we're saying the same thing. I mean, I agree with everything you're saying. I guess I don't know if maybe we're talking past each other.
Yeah. Well, there might be a generational thing. I don't want to throw age in here, but there could be a bit of a generational thing here, because kids. I mean, I remember when I was young, like I don't remember kids quite being as cliquish as they were later. Like, when my son was going to school, there was obviously cliques. There was no question about it. Whereas when I went to school, I remember there were kind of groups, but it didn't seem like the cliquish sort of thing that you talk about today. And that may have changed. I know smartphones and that sort of thing has changed the way that young people interact with each other too. So that's been a big factor.
Well, based on what I've seen, the portrayal of, kids in the high school in the 80s or in the 70s, it seems like what I'm seeing, I guess, is a pattern for, it seems like it could be the same, and maybe those are just inflated ideas on TV, movies and stuff. I don't know. I wasn't alive in the 80s and 70s, but yeah. And I agree, again, I think comfortability and liking somebody are different things, but I also think that they go hand in hand. And I could be wrong, but I'm all about trying to find good practical reasons on how to help people, especially my own kids.
Sure.
On how to be more productive. And again, productivity and winning is going to look different in every person. If somebody asks me, how do I win at life? I'm going to ask them, well, what is your definition of winning? So I can try to help you out. Maybe I have answers for how you're at point A, you want to get to point B. How can I help you get there? But you have to define what point B is, because that's going to be different. Some people, they just want a Lamborghini. That's what they see as winning. Some people want a big house, or some people want 10 kids. Everybody's different. If I tell them, well, this is how I won, I'm just going to project my life onto them. They're like, well, I don't care about anything you did, because you have a different view on life, a different definition of winning.
Let me ask you this: if you feel comfortable answering it, what do you see as successful for your children?
To be productive members of society, the cliche answer.
I mean, it's not a bad answer, but I mean, is there a financial component added to that? Like, do you want them to be wealthy, or,
Yeah,
I guess what
do.
I'm trying to say is, what is the, I know every parent wants their child to be the best, and they want them to be successful. They want them to be happy and comfortable. But I think about, like, what is really the most important. Like, if your kids grow up and they're not particularly successful or popular, but they're happy and they're good people, I'm not trying to put words in your mouth, but is that sort of what you're thinking?
Yeah, I was going to say I would have to define wealth, and of course, like if I'm speaking of money, and I try to raise my daughter, you need to find a man with a lot of money. You need to be able to provide for your kids. All this. She may marry some hippie who's living out of a van, and that may be what makes her happy, and I should be happy with that, as long as he's not abusing her and she's faking or whatever.
Oh,
but as long
absolutely.
as
He treats her like she's the greatest thing in the world. Yeah, I mean. Yeah, I agree. I agree with you.
But some women, they do want the money. So if my daughter wants the money, I'm going to say, okay, well, that's your definition of winning and success. Cool. Yeah. I don't want to impose my definition.
Right.
Yeah.
Yeah.
But yeah, again, going back to, that's why I was saying, like, if a child, one of my kids, asks me, Daddy, how can I have more friends in high school or middle school? I only have one. I don't know if this theory works or not. I haven't, that's why I'm testing you guys. I'm glad for the pushback too, because I could be completely wrong. And again, I heard this from some guy on, I don't even know what social media platforms. I don't know if you can trust any of them anyway, so it doesn't matter. But it made sense to me. It made sense to me. So, and I did see a pattern that individual is seeing. So I'm curious to try it out.
Hey, we'll look at it this way. If kids aren't like little experiments anyway, who are?
Yeah, it's true.
Well, let me pose something that originally I was typing. Apparently, Tom can't type something. I typed it. I could type it. And so Tom showed in the Discord, he took a snapshot of it. It shows up on his phone, and it never showed up on our screen. But when I typed it, it showed up. So let me show you that. It's actually
I know Tom had a question.
It's actually kind of strange here.
Yeah, there's been a lot of people talking in the.
Yeah, I was testing that because it's like, well, that's little third base. All right,
by the way, hi Tom.
Here's the Discord. Zoom in here.
Yeah, you wouldn't be struggling with this, Tom, if you just get on the live with us.
Well, he wouldn't have been able to do this if he was on the live. So here's the snapshot. I can zoom in. I don't know if you guys can see it, but it says right here, you asked a question. Oh, there it is. Do you think this whole Epstein doc release part of a greater agenda to create an AI government? As you can see, he typed it. It's in the text box.
But it's not on the...
It's not. It never showed up on the front side. Like, I never got to see it. But now when we go back to the live, when I saw that, I was like, well, let me try it. So up here, I typed it out. It's kind of cut off right here. But you can say, is this thing a part of the greater agenda to create an AI government? If you go through the chat logs.
Did you mention Epstein's name?
Yeah. Like if you go through the chat logs, you would see it. I typed verbatim what he said, and I could type it. So
Tom's got to stop redacting his stuff, man.
But what's interesting is it made Tom believe that it was posted because he saw it on his YouTube thing. But the only reason why he could know it never showed up is because we have a live feed of the live. And so everybody else can't see it, and we know that because it never showed up here. Yeah. But it made Tom believe it was posted. So if we never had this box, he would think, he said, I said this, but they're just ignoring me. But in reality, they just never put it out, but it made Tom believe it did get put out.
Yeah, I mean...
Wow.
We've all known this stuff happens. Like, anytime I comment on any kind of videos, which is rare...
Well, I've always known that they might censor things, right? But this is the next level. Is like, I want you to believe that your post is going up. But in reality, only you see your post going up. So you believe everyone can see it. But in reality, it's never going up at all. So this is beyond censorship. This is delusion. This is an illusion. You think it's posted because it's actually showing you it was posted.
No, I know. That's what it does on my end. And I can tell it's not posted when people don't respond.
On my side, whenever I get something blocked, it says unable or something. There's some phrase.
No, mine, not on this. I'm not talking on
or
this
message.
channel.
It says message something.
Yeah, mine will actually say, yeah, you said this. Yeah, it's there, but nobody's responding. Nobody's saying anything. It's like, right.
Oh, so that's a common thing for people.
Yeah, it's not new for me. I mean, maybe that.
Yeah, for my side, and maybe I'm the administrator, that's why. On my side, it'll say something like, there's some error. But I guess that's what people get.
Did he try it again?
Yeah, he said he tried it again. He still couldn't do it.
Can you try it again, Tommy boy? And why
Shout
don't
out
you just
to Iron Man out there. Iron Man
Tom's
Bill.
a scumbag.
Well, we won't know because Tommy Goy won't get on.
Well, that's
interesting. You see what you've done, Iron Man? You see?
How many people do that? See, that bothers me. How many people type things, and I would never know.
We saw it happening before. It would actually.
Yeah,
that's why we have to read off a screen because there's a lot of times people were saying things and it wasn't showing up on the chat, but it would actually show up on the screen.
Yeah, but now this didn't even show up on the screen.
Yeah,
that's what I'm saying. How many people?
There is a difference between top chat and live chat. You can choose from, and
the one on the screen
doesn't show everything.
The one
I'm on live chat.
Yeah, I'm on live chat.
Me too now.
On my YouTube studio, but on there, what you see on the screen, that's every chat. That's actually a script. That's every chat that's posted.
Oh, okay.
And if it's not on there, that means nobody's seeing it. Man, that is really interesting. Wow, Tom says it's actually worse now.
Dirty. Well, Tom, I guess this only leaves you with one option.
Yeah, I guess you could say it.
Yeah, you're going to have to get on the line. I think Iron Man should come down the aisle, too.
Yeah, Iron Man can always come on. But, yeah, I don't, just adding to what you guys were saying, I still think there is a layer of where the balance between friends and
foes.
Again, in my mind, it's efficiency. It's and again, is that cultural?
Well, it is efficiency. Everybody's going to.
Yeah, I know that. I'm saying industrially.
Okay, yeah. So that's your definition.
Because that's my culture. We're raised in that kind of mentality. We're not joking. We're not really playful. We're just work. That's the whole idea. And that's where you get your popularity. Your popularity comes from your success of work.
Well, that's where the Seven Dwarfs got it.
Yeah, but it's not because you're cool guy. There's nobody cool really in that culture unless you're successful. Those are the cool guys. The guys who are not successful, no matter how likable you are, you're not a cool guy.
Yeah, I don't know. There'd have to be I'd have to see a high school in Korea to see if there's any kind of popularity thing going on.
Like it's actually viral all the time. Like the suicide rate is so high in Oriental cultures, especially Japan and Korea.
Yeah, see, because none of them are popular.
Well, it's because the idea of the culture is work, 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 work. You need to be successful.
They could just make a song.
Like, yeah, but they probably do in America.
Work.
But that's just the mentality. And then your success is deemed by, your popularity is deemed by your success. And so for me, that is what I've been ingrained in my idea. Like me and my family, we never really joked like that. We weren't playful. We really didn't hug. There was no like all these words of affirmation, and it never really was. But everything was shown through the idea of action, work, success, and access. It wasn't by playfulness. And so my mind, it changed when it came to being more embedded into an American society, but I still have that ingrained in my head. It's almost genetic. It's weird. It's like I still see efficiency as production.
So your mom taught you to not be a player, and that's fine.
Well, it's not that. It's like I still have that American mentality because this is where a lot of my childhood was. But something is genetic in my brain. It's like production is the highest means of efficiency.
But you're saying you weren't a player?
Well, it depends on how you define that.
Nobody in your culture are players.
Well, it depends.
You guys didn't play any games.
Well, yeah, of course, but now it's back to competitiveness. It's nothing about I want to just hang out and be friends. Everything's competitive in these cultures. Everything's about winning. It's always about winning. And you could say that about any culture, but it's really about winning. Like, that's all that matters is winning.
What about hanky panky?
Yeah, and that's about winning again too. It's very different. It's very I don't even know how to say it. When I'm thinking about and I guess I really don't think about it because it's like I said, it's almost genetic. I don't even think about it. It's natural. And then I talk about it as though it's natural, but yeah, it's probably.
It sounds like Korea puts the suck in success.
Yeah, they probably.
It sounds like it sucks to be successful.
It probably feels like that in American mentality because it's work, 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 work. Everything's about work.
Yeah, we heard it from the dwarves.
Yeah, and they
never got any taller than 4 feet.
But that's just the mentality, and for me, that's great. I love that. I love that work mentality. My brain actually sucks when
communism.
My brain actually starts to suck and actually start going in this weird downfall if I take too much stagnant time.
None of those 7 dwarfs got Snow White. And they all slept.
Yeah, but that's for Americans, right?
Maybe.
Yeah, produced by the 33rd Club.
I don't know.
And again, I don't want to make
I don't think dwarves have to be
I don't want to
American.
make that dichotomy because this isn't about American Oriental people. But I do know that there's something strange because, yeah, as I'm talking to you, I can see the fluidity there. I never had that like you had with your siblings. If I would make those kind of joking connotation, I get beat. There's none of that going on. And so, but that was normal. Like, but I see, for me, that was good. If I did anything as you did in your such life, I would have consequences. So it was not seen as a part of a social currency.
Huh. Well, we got it anyway.
Well, yeah, I get that too.
But it didn't matter.
Yeah, I know. But you and your brother said, yeah, it doesn't matter. We're going to play this game anyway.
Yeah, so
right.
We were players.
Yeah, but when you have a whole society, like that's your isolated family group, and that probably wasn't pleasant. But when you have a whole society that has that mentality, you're not going to go off and you're going to get isolated.
You're going to be the unpopular kid.
Yeah, you're going to have no job. And Americans might say, well, who cares? Over there, that's like you're the lowest on the totem pole. Like you saw it. Like unless you were handicapped or missing limbs, nobody's homeless over there. And so everybody's working. And if you're on the side of the road, we'll give you a job. And if you don't want to work, we'll spit on you.
Yeah, except for those bimbos making faces on the train.
Right. Hey, us.
Yeah. It was like, who are these guys?
Americans. Clearly they're Americans.
He's just blowing from Stupid Town?
Yeah, that's why it's strange. I guess I don't really think about it much. But yeah, there is something really genetically embedded in my mind. That kind of efficiency is very different. It's not very playful.
Well, here in America, we do things different.
Yeah, I get that, and I embrace that a lot now. But I can't. Some reason I can't escape that kind of mentality of efficiency. It never seems like efficiency is just chilling and hanging out. I always feel like we're being inefficient. And I don't know why. It's just natural. This is inefficient.
You just had to speak jive.
You just need to be doing something or thinking or doing something. Just sitting around doing nothing, just relaxing.
Do you feel guilty? Do you feel guilty if you're not productive?
No, I feel slow.
Okay.
You know what's funny?
Okay.
When I went to Korea with him, we stayed in some of their houses because he was visiting a loved one that was on their deathbed, which was a rock.
Oh.
And
Wow.
the goal was to try to get her to stop moving. Because even as she was dying, she was going out there and gardening at the age of
that's no surprise. Yeah.
85,
Yeah.
86.
Yeah. She just didn't want to stop moving. She was out there tending the corn or whatever they have. And not only that, they didn't have any furniture. There was no couches. There was nothing. There was no beds. And that was really tough. I've never experienced anything like that in my life where, like, yeah, when I was a kid, I slept like a kid. But now when I'm an adult, it's hard to do that. As you guys know, obviously the older ones out there, like elder. But you want to talk about tired. Like, foxes have holes and birds have nests, but I had no place to rest. There was you try to sit down and it hurts, and then you just lay down and it hurts. So you have to sit back up and that still hurts. So you stand up and you're like, man, my legs are tired. So you sit down, but there's no chairs, no couches, no beds. You're just on the hardwood floor.
And when you're eating, we're sitting on the floor.
Yeah, all day, every day, you're just on this hardwood floor.
And you can go outside. Cushion. We get a little cushion. Yeah, you get to sit on a little cushion when you eat.
Yeah,
and there's like a little
pillow.
Yeah, and there's like this
I was
little.
Gonna say, if you're good, pillow for you.
Yeah, you have to protect your kundingi or whatever it is.
And my grandma, she would sleep on a rock bed made out of granite.
Yeah,
and
my goodness.
But that's what she liked because.
I was going to say, if you're comfortable, that's what matters.
And my uncle, he's a pretty successful individual, and he lives in Seoul, and he lives in a nice upper class. But you go there, he does have a couch. It's a nice couch.
Yeah, but they're modernized.
Right,
they say that
when you
they're
go
more modernized.
Right, but when you go to sleep, he's still sleeping on the floor. Now his son sleeps on a bed, but he sleeps on the floor. We were still sleeping on floors. And even though it's modernized, it's still the embedded idea. You can't sit around and relax. You need to be busy. You need to get up and work. Yeah, of course it ain't comfortable. That means you got to get up and go to work. You ain't sitting around being lazy all day, not doing anything. It's just embedded in that culture.
You know, that old man actually walked up a hill and did workouts, and he was over there smoking and drinking, and we couldn't keep up with him.
Oh, yeah, I know, Mom.
He was probably, like 100 years old?
Well, he was probably about your age. But But there was an older guy. I thought that's what he was going to mention. Yeah. There was an older guy. We're walking down the road, and there's this guy probably about 80, and he's bold. He yells at me and colleague, and he's like, "Get out of the way!" And literally, he was going to do something, and he's just bold. And then my uncle, he saw some two teenagers not respecting him, and he just threw them on the fence. And
yeah, they were riding a bike past him, and
it wasn't being respectful.
His path. Yeah, and he just pushed him over.
Yeah, because they weren't respecting the elders.
You know, the old people and the old people are walking there. You have to get out of their way because they.
But that's what I'm saying. My mind is still embedded in a very. We're not joking. We're not playing. We're very industrial, very structured, and that's my thinking of efficiency. Even though I've been living in America forever.
Yeah, I was going to say you've been here for a long time, but
I think it's just genetic. I don't get it. It's a default thing. Like colleague knows, I'm a joking, playful person, but that's not like my natural state. Like him, that's his natural state. That's not my natural state.
Huh. Wow. I think we need to kidnap you and take you away in a van and recondition you.
Clockwork Orange.
You could try, but I probably end up like my grandma. It's just like there's old women that their back is permanently bent like this, and you'd see them walking down the road. They're like 100, and they're still just walking along trying to do something, carry rice or something, rice
paddy.
My
goodness.
They're just built that way. Anyways, I was just saying there is probably a layer to that too. That there's this cultural effect that I don't think I can ever fully get out of. It's like it's probably
but
genetic.
kids still fall in love. They still want to be loved.
yeah,
No matter,
absolutely.
that's a cross-cultural thing.
Yeah.
So, I mean, I don't care if you're in Sweden. Like, the kids there are probably going to want to be cared about.
But how do you get that love is probably what conditions it. Like in Korea, you get that love by being successful, by being intelligent, by going to school, getting good grades. That's how you get the love. If you don't, you get shunned.
You have to go to the military for 2 years after high
Right,
school.
everybody's going to the military. And so that's what probably embraces this idea. This is love.
Well, how do the farmers fall in love then? You know what I'm saying? Like,
Oh, they're hanging out with the farmers. They're all who's producing more, who's getting more rice. That's where I was born. I was born in more of the rural country area of Korea, and it's still pretty rural, even though it's more modern than it used to be when I was a kid. And the rice paddy's still out there, and they're still all doing the same old thing. But it's still that
like it was
industrial
the
mentality.
successful farmers were the
Right.
ones that were more likely to.
And because it's communal, yes, they're going to be the leaders of this community.
Okay.
But they're also in that mentality. You're also more responsible. You're responsible for the community. Because if there's people lacking in need, like my grandma, people who were lacking, they would come to her. She would give because she had a little rice paddy. So, yeah, of course, you'd be the leaders, but you're also going to be more responsible.
It sounds like we could actually learn a few lessons from that culture, to be honest with you, here in America.
Well, maybe, but you definitely wouldn't be joking as much.
Well, no, I mean, I think there's a balance. I do. I think there's a balance where you have to have a sense of humor to get by, especially when things are like they are now in the world. It's very easy to get very depressed and sad and down and say the world's just a mess. You got to keep a sense of humor about it. You got to. And I think you could still be efficient. You could still have community and still have a sense of humor. I think it can be done. Like I said, I think there are concepts that we could borrow as far as, like you were saying, like the idea of the being responsible for a community, that leadership. Like nobody wants to be a leader anymore. No one wants to be a mentor. And I think that's doing a lot of damage to our country.
But you would lose that beautiful idea of free will and liberty and independency and freedom. I mean, you have all that here in America. The more independent you are, it's I take care of mine and me. And collective cultures, there is no me and I. It's we.
Yeah, I think there's a hybrid somewhere that could help us. Like, you don't lose your individuality, but you do have to see the sense in community.
Unfortunately, a lot of comedians struggle with depression or anxiety themselves or whatever. They like Robin Williams, who struggled with that, and you see them laughing and joking and goofing off, and it's because they don't want to they don't ever want to see people feeling how they feel, so this is their gift to humanity or whatever, and I see that. For me personally, I wasn't allowed to laugh as a kid, so that's why I laugh so much now. Kind of like when you're told not to be gay as a kid.
That's why you're gay now?
Yeah, and then you come out gay. But I wasn't told not to be gay. I just was gay.
Oh.
But now, I'm straight. I'm on that straight and narrow.
You got that crooked fixed.
Yeah.
That's good.
And by gay, of course, we're not anti-semantic here.
Talking about squares.
I'm talking about happy.
Yeah.
Yeah, no, I'm not one of them funny boys.
But
I am one of them funny boys, depending on how you look at it. Huh?
Talking about SIGs.
I thought you said something else.
Yeah, see, I can joke. I'm not a robot.
Yeah,
Believe me.
See, you speak jive.
I'm not an AI.
Ollie, what's your type?
I'm type C.
Remember that type?
Yeah.
That was way back.
Yeah. The 8-inch bagel.
Yeah.
That's my type.
Yeah, right.
Yeah. That's my type.
Bagels.
That's my type. Yeah. 8-inch bagel.
Man, there's a whole slew of things going on in the chat. Maybe read them a little bit. I don't even know what's going on. I think Tom
the
said
cats are out of control.
He got banned. I think he said Iron Man blocked him or something. There's a whole thing going on in there. Let's see what's going on with the family.
It's like a soap opera.
Yeah. But, this is
Wow.
what happens when families interact. There's always a dynamic.
Oh, we get David Zerm up in there and King James and holy cow, Tommy Boy's going.
Hey, I see a new person, Cliff Commander 369. Is that what it says?
Yeah, that's what it says.
Hey, man. I was trying to clean my glasses.
We can go with that.
I was trying to clean my glasses earlier.
We can go with that.
That's
Every time I zoom in, it actually makes my screen smaller. I got it.
Yeah, those are American glasses. Anyway, where do you want me to start with all this?
Wherever. I mean, there's a drama going on. Can we figure out the drama?
There's all this nougaty goodness over here.
Yeah, run through it.
I don't even know where to start. I just gotta dig in.
Yeah, just dig in.
You guys put so much on my plate. Wow. All right, I'll just start with here is random. Noah Cloud says, some people throw off a weird vibe because they're weird with bad intentions. That's true, too. You can say that's evolution or creation or whatever, but yeah, kids can tell if there's something off about you. So if you have psychopathic tendencies, you may be one of those weird kids. And that's why people say it's always the quiet ones.
I can tell, too. Yeah. I can tell that kid, that's a weird kid, too. So it goes the other way around. I'm like, yeah, that's one of those weird kids.
Yeah, but somehow everybody will gravitate away from those weird kids. And it's unfortunate because only one of those kids is probably a psychopath or sociopath, and all the other kids that don't have a lot of friends they genuinely want to have friends, they just don't know how.
Tom says if anybody can dig in, it's you. You got this, colleague.
Oh yeah. it's feeding time, and boy am I hungry.
Slime feeder.
Noah Cloud says productive revolutionaries standing on the bones of fallen empires. That's I feel like
it's like the beginning line of one of those dystopian novels.
Yeah,
it's like this.
Might have to use that in a book.
No.
That was a nice line.
I like that.
Yeah. Slime Peter says more like the stumbling cells amidst the zombie state and its affairs.
There's another good line.
Yeah.
Now you take all these together, you compile already a first paragraph.
You could write a book. Yeah. Noah Cloud says, it's me. I'm that hippie with an RV wife. Her dad wasn't happy. Yeah, see? But she's happy, and that's all that matters.
Yeah, you don't always have to find the family approval.
Yeah, people always used to tell me, colleague, you need to, when you marry your wife, you're marrying her mom and dad too. And I was like, as tempting as that sounds, I'm going to have to decline. I don't want them. That's just you.
Yeah, see, that again, I'm thinking about my culture again. It's like, I will take care of my mom till she dies. She will never go to a nursing home. This is embedded in our culture. We will take care of them. They take care of us. We will take care of them.
Mm-hmm.
And
gonna bring honor to us all.
Yeah, it's like, and you will. And if you don't, you're the scum of the earth. But yeah, I don't think that's a necessity of a projection. And of course, in an Oriental culture, you do marry a family. There is no ifs, ands, or buts. You will not even do that unless you go off and elope in something. But now you're an outcast. You're never coming back. And so, I think. But I would say, that's a cultural thing in America. That's probably not the most efficacious thing. I guess it could be, but probably not. I wouldn't say it's a mandate. Sometimes you got really toxic parents, very narcissistic parents, very controlling parents, and that's not going to be very efficient for you or your spouse.
That's
and
true.
I wouldn't say you need to look for their approval if they're toxic kind of people.
Yeah. Some people have all the luck. Noah Cloud said now it's chill, though, so he's good with his dad.
Oh, okay. Well, that's good. I like to hear that.
Yeah, so eventually he did marry the dad and the mom.
Well, I mean, it's a blessing to have that kind of stuff, having a good family, because that's a stressful thing.
Yeah, we need that strong family dynamic that Noah has.
Yeah.
Like these guys are.
I appreciate that.
Me too.
Yeah.
Slime Feeder says RV life sounds rad, to be honest.
RV life?
Yeah, because that's where Noah Cloud took her.
Oh, RV. They said
RV.
VR life.
No, RV.
Oh, yeah.
Well, VR life could be, too.
That's what Zuckerberg wants you to be.
That's where my girlfriend is. She's actually in the VR headset.
She's actually one of those fish people.
Yeah. Noah Cloud says auto redacted. Okay. Iron Man says, we already read that. Tom's a scumbag.
Here's some good advice from Noah. Go ahead.
Oh, the next one?
Yeah.
I thought you can read it if you want.
Oh, it says never poop in the RV. That should tell you about the RV life. Yeah, it's good advice.
Yeah, it is.
I'll put that one in the bag.
Yeah. Next time we get an RV. I've actually always wanted to get one and just dump it as I'm driving.
Me and colleague have had many conversations of inventions that you can.
Somebody actually did that in a nice neighborhood, an RV, and somebody caught it on the door camera, and the guy saw it, and he went out with a shotgun trying to shoot the guy. It's a funny video. Actually made the news. This happened several years ago. But yeah, it was just it left this white streak all up and down the neighborhood. I guess it's permanently stained. So whatever those people in that family were eating, they must have came straight from Mexico or something. I don't know, Taco Bell probably. Anyway, you shouldn't be staining a black street white like that. It was this white like street, and it was not toilet paper. You could tell like the guys washed it off, but it was just stuck like that. They dyed the tar white. It's like a snail. It's like, we know who did this because there's a trail. Man.
Well, like Tommy Boy said,
I feel like we're in old times here now, talking about poop.
Yeah. Well, you can't leave the foundation.
Feels like old times.
Yeah, it does. Well, speaking of time, that's us, folks.
Yeah. Well, I hope you guys enjoyed this conversation. I think there's a lot of interesting nuggets in here, and I think it's useful to think about because there's a lot of things to play in how we build friendships and networks, success, age dynamics too. Yeah, from children, teenagers, then to adults. It all fluctuates, but really it's based upon what's your objective. And yeah, I guess it is tough when you're a kid. I guess especially in America, because you're always told you can be whatever you want to be. Like me, I was told what I'm probably going to be, and you need to focus on that. But yeah. Well, it is something to think about because it's better to have friends than not. It's a lonely world out there when you have none.
Amen.
We're speaking directly to you, Bill. Come back to us, son.
Mm-hmm.
We love you.
As I heard through the grapevine, coming here to verify, is Bill actually a J? Whoa, why did I even read that? Out of all the comments, why did I read that one?
He also says, someone tell Bill I love him. Check. I don't want to go to bed mad. Okay, well, you should never let the sun settle.
Well, what are those blue things?
Those are
they're people hugging.
Yeah, that's
like
Tom
their
and
face
Bill.
hugging. Yeah,
that's Tom and Bill. That's what that is.
Friends forever. That's beautiful. I love that.
Yeah. It seems like a beautiful relationship that's starting.
And I see David Zerm is in there. He says, always keep your pee and poop separate. It will smell less. And those are wise words.
Wow.
That's also very wise words.
Wow. I always try to get rid of all of it they can. Like, I'll spit, I'll blow my nose. I'm trying to get everything out. But I mean,
third level.
I didn't know you could actually separate them.
He's
That's
on a higher
different.
escalon.
So what do? You just go in, you take number 2, then you leave, you go back in, you do number 1, and then you go back out, and then you blow your nose, and you come back out, you go back in. It's like
buckets. Yeah. You just have a bunch of buckets, colleague.
Oh.
There's a bucket for each
So
fluid.
this is the master.
Well,
of
I have that. What else do I need?
Well, you just need to get more buckets. You can never have enough buckets.
I guess not.
Make sure they're color coded.
Yeah. Hungry hippos.
Yeah.
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 Anyways, that's all the time we have. Appreciate you being on. I don't know what I was going to call you, Ted.
I know.
You can call me whatever you want. I don't care at this point.
We're gonna call you late for dinner
I'm
then.
going to call you Ed.
Could be Ed, and Eddie.
Yeah. Anyways, I appreciate everybody chiming in. Appreciate David Zerm, Cliff Finder, if I was Slime Feeder, Noah Cloud, David Zerm, King James. Everybody was in here as always. Hey, there's Jeremy chiming in at the last minute.
Oh man,
Crest the Clown checking in.
We were just leaving.
Yeah. So we appreciate everybody. Stay tuned for this episode this Saturday. It's called Maybe I Was Wrong About Everything. I think you guys will enjoy it. But I think this live reeled me back in. And maybe I wasn't wrong. Maybe I was right. But it should be entertaining nonetheless. Hopefully you guys enjoy it. But well, I lost my train of thought. But anyways, appreciate you guys tuning in. See you guys in the next one. And this is the Matrix Network. Well, I was going to say toilet time. This is the Matrix Network. Live, signing out.
Yeah, and he's host and he's colleague and I'm elder.
That's right.
Or Ted
Right.
or whoever. I don't know who I am.
Elder.
Elder, yeah.
Yeah.
See you guys.
Later.